for you on this course. Just wait, don't do it. I'll just tell you. Wait. So on the green, one hope for you on this course. On the pink, one concern, one worry, one fear that you have. On this course. Worry. Like I say, maybe you don't have any worries. Then you can write no worries or something. But if you put your name, it helps us. It helps.
No idea.
What should you bring?
ไม่มีเริ่มออก
Before we do the next thing, can I just remind you, today is a new day, maybe we should revisit. So remember what we agreed. Cell phones on silent, greetings, yeah? Be polite, respectful. Raise your hand to speak when it comes to discussions. Timekeeping, yeah, which so far has been good. Sharing of knowledge, experiences, challenges and problems as well.
Experience.
โอเคเลยป้าคนเดียวกัน
แม่ตรงกันอุ้ยวะอะไรเนี่ย experience ลอกกันมาได้อันไหนอ่ะ very อ่ะเราต้องโลไว้ก่อนพี่
Big nothing
increase
All right. Dependency on technology.
Yeah, sure. I'll put it up. Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, you can put it anywhere. Okay, it's fine. Like, you know.
Good.
Okay, great. Okay, that's good. Understanding what it really means. Hoping you'll be able to, remember it. Hoping you can see the linkages and relationships. Hoping you'll be able to apply it. Concerns are obviously related to some. Which one? We are going to do an activity where you are going to think about all the threats, all the issues. A threat is something that is. What's a threat? Give me some examples of threats to fisheries management. Destructive fishing gear. So, destructive fishing gear. One card or one threat or one issue. And don't worry, they will come. And you take them and you write as many as possible first.
What's that?
So that's another thing I think. Something's up. Okay, so friendships. No, that's already something else. Now here we're doing big games. As big as possible. Yeah, yes, that's right. So climate change, one. And another one. So generating lots and lots of money. And maybe you don't agree, it's okay. It's okay. You can generate individual perspectives. Yeah. Not yet. Okay, so that's why I said well, a worry, a fear. Yeah, a worry for safety. Okay, a worry for the future. So threats and time. That's why the project
No speed.
yeah, I mean, they might not do it, but you must do
Develop the provincial regulation. This is also governance.
Yeah, this is governance, but we can make a point because it's very clear. It would be more like lack of integration of national policy. Yeah. So something like lack of harmonization between policies, not only from national to local, but between sectors. Because maybe the fisheries policy wants to do something, but then the environmental policy is saying something completely different, and that's sort of a mismatch.
Major change in tropical stress.
That makes sense. Do you know what that means? If you fish all the carnivores,
So if you remove the carnivores and you fish the next one, everything changes.
Especially fish food chain.
And that's a threat that but that's a result of
In the following of overfishing, no more bigger fish in the area. It's like fishing down the food web from predatory larger species becoming smaller, lower food chain.
You said that there might be less of a livelihood.
Get poor, and there will be lots of social problems as a result. They haven't got money to send their kids to school and all this stuff. So, what should we say? Fairly poor anyway.
shipment กินตัวอยู่แล้ว
because of high livelihood.
Tapi SPS tu biar tak ada last minute.
Yang pengguna antibiotik.
Antibiotik, aquaculture residue, kita memang ada monitoring residue. WTO notification.
And also, let's catch it so they can
Penyediaan makanan segar, penjagaan
food safety ya.
Okay, now let's go ahead. Start putting them on the ready.
Destructive fishing method. Fishermen responsible fishing calculation. They all cannot actually even 1 degree in the sea, the coral will be bleaching. Like there's no more fishing ground for some time.
In particular in Thailand, we are for marine fishery, we are resources based and so far just try.
Okay, all right. So we move one more time. Okay, so let's visit another table. I need to get it.
Bird. Time is over. Bird.
เขาเรียกว่าอะไรอ่ะเข้มงวดเกิน
And you don't get support to that, the financial support.
เฮ้ยแต่กลุ่มไอ้โจรดีนะพี่คนลิฟคนที่พูดที่บอกไม่เคยไปทำงาน
Every country.
Wait, I have to stand there.
ไปไม่ถูกเลยไม่เห็นคนไปไม่ถูกมันจะเป็นอัดแน่นไม่แบบไม่แตกไง
What?
มันก็คือแย้งกันเนี่ยนะ
If you look at any other document, any other document with anything actually written about it, apart from a word. Yeah. And we talk about long-term vision, a lack of a vision. A lack of a vision. And where are we going?
businesses.
That's good. That's a good list.
โตหรือไฮ
Food security. Soccer. Food security.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. Why are we doing this exercise? It is a brainstorming. Yeah. Why are we doing it?
To mapping the problem.
Okay. To get the main threats and the main issues. All right. So, what do you think? This is your group work, your group effort. Does it make you think of anything?
Similar.
Yeah. So some will be overlap, it's fine. Was this difficult or easy for you?
Difficult.
It was difficult.
Yeah.
There are many, because these all impact, they have an effect on the fisheries and on the management of it. So we need to be aware of all these issues, and the sessions we will do after the break we're going to try and see how it's possible to address, if it's possible.
And find out which ones are really the important ones, and which ones can we do something about and manage, and then we end up being a better managers of the resources. So I think that's a very good list. It also ranges from climate to people issues, corruption, income, poverty, resource issues, habitat issues. They're all pretty much there, and well done to everybody. Yeah.
So you will see is that they fall into different areas, things that relate to environment, things that relate to socioeconomics, things that relate to governance. And that clustering activity we will do after lunch.
Okay. Thank you, Simon. So this is a thinking process we are going through. We are going to leave it here for now. Don't step on it, yeah, when we go. We're leaving it here, and then we do some other thinking processes, then we come back to it later, yeah? After we have got some more ideas, okay? And we will work with these again, okay? So it's not finished yet. So you just write the topic here. I mean, you can write your name if you want, but you just put it in here during the day. And every evening, we will be checking. After the daily monitoring, we will look in here and see if anything is being said.
Then you have also observed that there are commonalities among the countries in the Southeast Asian regions, that there are common issues and threats. And with that output that we have, let me introduce to you the topic about ecosystem approach. And it may be helpful in dealing us with the threat and issues that we have made by your output, and as instructed after lunch, we can have some clustering. But before we go on, I will be discussing about an ecosystem. So for this particular discussion, the session objective will be, you will realize that addressing the many threats and issues facing capture fisheries and coastal ecosystem is new approach. Because there is a need for an ecosystem approach to manage the coastal fisheries in our regions, and we should also recognize the multiple benefits that ecosystem provide to human society, particularly in the Southeast Asian region, that most of us are dependent on fisheries for food security and livelihood. And there are lots of benefits that can be derived from fisheries that will help us. And the other one is implementation of the fisheries management related to ecosystem approach. And one particular, as I go on with million tons of production, and that 145 million tons production came from 90 million came from the capture fisheries, and other 55 million tons come from aquaculture. And if you look at our fisheries, fisheries plays an important role in the global efforts to eliminate hunger. And as I have made mention, particularly in the Southeast Asian region, that we are residing, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and other fisheries for food security and livelihood. And as you can notice on that, we can say that there are many issues and threats facing our fisheries and other associated ecosystems.
Lay out, as we're going to find out, very specific objectives and activities to undertake that. And so I don't know which they might have.
It certainly requires fisheries management. Yeah. And that is part of the fisheries process. It requires that.
It's an integrated process to improve that. On an assumption there is a lot of fish out there. A lot of these issues said overfishing.
One lack of enforcement can be addressed by conventional fisheries management. What you will do as well, that can be addressed by conventional
Same as here.
fisheries management.
No. Method and gears. Yes. Conflicts.
Overcapacity. There's a little tick on it. That's it. Fishing effort needs more effort. Come on, more effort.
Yes, I think yes. Yes. Maybe not. Maybe not. This one, yes.
Conventional. Yeah.
Conventional, not mention about the people, right? Or mainly on the stuff.
Lack of communication with regulators.
Connection for research.
Around everybody think.
Yeah, because you're still thinking.
In some countries, most countries ban in fact, most of the managers in this region we're not saying whether it works or not. We're saying pretty good? Yep.
Areas and the other one is the land areas. Yes. A relationship, main relationship that comes to and have impact on our fisheries and other ecosystems. And from that, looking at that picture, I defined on blue from the SPCP 2010 that an ecosystem can be defined as a relatively self-contained system that contains plants, animals, which include humans, of course, microorganisms and non-living components of the environment, as well as the interaction between them. So that particular definition you can see on your hand. And if you will be looking in the ecosystem as far as the coastal marine ecosystem in the Asia Pacific, you will get to numbers and aquaculture farmers in the world.
even us, for example, we did this in a week, and even us, we've been doing some sort of E-EAFM, we still can't explain it fully what E-EAFM is in 1 or 2 sentences. We can explain it using the slides, but it will take some time, and you have to go through the entire course to understand it. So don't worry. If you have some questions, you can ask other resource persons about this. So now we'll try to apply the ecosystem approach to fisheries. So Ronnie provided you an overview of what an ecosystem is. So an ecosystem, and then what an ecosystem approach entails. And now let's see if we try that approach to fisheries management, what will change in your fisheries management. So the objective of this session is to define the 3 components. There are 3 components to E-EAFM. Also the principles, there are 7 principles of E-EAFM. And it's linked to the major elements of the code. Basically, E-EAFM is an acronym for ecosystem approach to fisheries management, So simply put, it's applying the ecosystem approach to fisheries management. Earlier today, you already brainstormed on what conventional fisheries management is. So it helped you, hopefully, it has helped you put into context what you usually do. So you're able to identify when you talk about fisheries management, what do we usually have in our fisheries management plan? What does the fisheries division or bureau usually do when it comes to fisheries management? So E-EAFM is a practical way to implement sustainable development. You've heard of, yes? And sustainable development. So sustainable development, mentioned earlier, it's basically the balance, 4 of them across the week. So you can refer to them. These are the critical governance. So what is UN in 1995, and all those principles were adopted and converted, reduced to those 7. So we'll talk more about the principles later this afternoon. But for now, let's have a look at a real-world example.
These structural fish are used as a cheap and protein-rich feed for Thailand's booming shrimp industry, the largest exporter of prawns in the world. But at what cost to the ocean?
ฟองน้ำพวกสัตว์เลื้อยคลานพวกกระดงกระดาวเป็นทะเลมันอยู่พื้นทั้งหมดเลยแล้วถ้าเป็นคนล่าถ้าเป็นคนต้มโครงล่าตอนนี้มาดูในส่วนของปลาเป็ดประมาณ 50% ตรงนี้ประมาณครึ่งหนึ่งก็จะเป็นกลุ่มปลาที่มีความสำคัญทางเศรษฐกิจแต่มันมีขนาดเล็กถ้าปล่อยให้โตแบบนี้ก็จะเข้าไปเป็นกลุ่มปลาที่บริโภคตรงได้โดยไม่ต้องนะในตรงนั้นก็คือส่วนที่เราสูญเสีย
Then we will talk about the principles and considerations of E-EAFM and go into more detail about the 7 beautiful stars. And then after break, we will discuss how much E-EAFM, everything that has happened that has affected fisheries. Give me some examples. Yeah. Right. Trawl, sorry. Trawl. Introduction of trawlers. Okay, yeah. So that would be one. So you would write, when was that? Approximately.
Fine, we've got is Derek over there. I think yeah, no, that's good.
Only for 30 years. Actually, including
Yes, it's politics. Like change the regime.
So what would you say is the very first thing you got?
Yeah, MoMA established
yes.
in 2000.
Yeah.
What does that mean, MoMA? For someone that doesn't know?
Ministry of Fisheries.
Was created then?
Yeah. Before we
under the
agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture.
So you got a separated fisheries.
Got the right minister.
But is it related to the fisheries?
Yes. It's since steps in rupiah.
Okay. Then more in 1985, change of policies.
After that point.
So 87 and 89 were 2 big periods after that because both of those were 2 important policy documents came out on conservation and management of fisheries. We'll catch up. We'll catch up to your birth then later on.
Fisheries
70s. Okay, so then you are just. I think going there. Early. That's going down. You want to? Yeah, that's how. And there's a line. Okay. And in
The Ministry of Fisheries put together their fisheries.
Because I'm just working for not more than 10 years.
Yeah. Okay, so just think about the last 10 years. Think about the things that you know now in the last 5 years. You know, things that are environmental, tsunamis or political, everything, not just everything that has affected your fishing.
The survey, the research survey for the
research on large mesh cycles.
also survey with
which one? What fishing method? This Danish the design. But there is an introduction in the 1970s and adoption is on the 1980s. And 1980s. Yes. So there is some activity using bottle bottom.
Sticky. Disposable of the stickies.
Ini bisa banyak nanti kan sambung oleh garis gitu.
Especially to portion.
When the troll was banned, kapan troll dilarang?
85. Can someone think of the power of the fishery? When was that established? The first democratic election. When was this established? Yeah, I think so. It's a big debate. Thailand being finally accepted. They put it here. They put it at the end. They said this. They said here. This is here. Yeah.
fishery law. Gulf of Thailand in 1970.
In FAO website.
What happened? Yeah.
Cannot download it.
Oh, I see.
You could think. Live fishing, very
These people are all too young. I want to see something here.
Yes.
What happened in the Gulf of Thailand in the 1970s? They introduced trawling. What happened?
Start from 5.6 kilogram in this year.
Yep. Decline of fisheries.
1968. 1965.
95 up there.
แสดงว่ามันต้องช้ากว่านี้ฟิชรี่รอ
1970 ตรงนี้ตัวเอลไครซิสครั้งที่ 1ภายในอนาคต
MRC and other fisheries projects started. I'm still trying to get an idea when the big pressure, like let's say fishing pressure or fishing effort started on the Great Lake. And fisheries resources in good shape, environment in good condition, and so fishing and fisheries more or less just follow the natural cycle. But
3 or 4 years.
That's why doing fisheries reviews is successful for the same reason, because the empowerment of the local.
Really, the first one was way. They decided to set up the management, decentralized management.
Yeah, they should have had.
Yeah, I mean, we wrote a lot of policies.
Centralized too.
Well, I mean, other companies like Philippines done it because they had a national administrative decentralization, and so it's fully done that. I mean, it's
But
still.
then also Philippines didn't come from a communist background.
Navigation of the fisheries.
Also, it's the national fishery law.
National.
Have a comprehensive law. In 1980, they approved a law that we made a lot of changes in the fishery, divided the municipal and commercial fishing grounds, created.
And also, fish is very stressed, and we make a difference. Yes?
When did that zoning come in?
The zoning is...
Because that's quite an important one too.
I mean, yeah, the zoning is very long time. We introduced the zoning zone. Yeah.
You just put way back.
Was when that department started? 14? More than 100. It's about like more than 100 years. The zones were put in. Which products from Cambodia?
The EU banned them. When?
Last year.
Ecosystem of those fisheries. And this session will describe in greater detail the 7 key principles of EFM that Roland has been made mention, and it is in our visual gallery that I will be discussing it one by one, the key principle of EFM. And this module will outline the principle that differentiate EF approaches to fisheries management. You have an issue about governance. What is meant by good governance? So good governance are the ways, rules, which are set and implemented where mechanism, processes, and institutions are contact with each other. And these are the 7 characteristics of governance. We have consensus-oriented, and good governance is participatory. It follows the rules of law. It has an effective and efficient implementation of activities. Good governance is accountable, and there is accountability. There is a transparency in the implementation of programs. It is responsive to the needs, but also the civil society and other outside institutions from the government as a characteristics of good governance. So when we speak of responsive, the governing body should have the capacity and flexibility, good governance. So their voices are heard, and they can have a part in making that for good governance. And the rule of law, we can include both men and women as far as gender sensitivity is concerned, or gender in development is concerned, and that we have,
especially when they encroach. Is the scale right? So quite often we talk about. Feel right to me.
What I'm trying to get is governance, we have corruption,
That's an inland fish. And that is inland, covered by 7 days. In the marine, we have an example. From practice to practice.
Because we have to discuss about
Get our government to walk
if the country
Regarding this picture, because looking into the 3 components of EFM, we have ecological well-being, human well-being, and good governance. And if we are looking into cover of this topic, when we go on with the discussion on day 2 about the startup bid. So don't worry about now what we will be doing in order to before you finish.
Thank you very much. So this action you would like to revisit again what we have written earlier this morning about the threat and issues. We have already put all your work on the ground.
Your heading.
We have already provided 3 headings.
For that, that's develop policy.
มันต้องเป็นรายได้
Dynamite.
เกี่ยวข้องกับคนทั้งหมดเลย แม้ว่าจะเป็นรายได้
Development vision political ใช่ไหม
Ecological.
Show scale. Government fishery, and
Oh, we can? How do we do that?
Well, if there's a crossover between, say, human well-being and governance, then you could probably put it between the two. Or ecological.
I think we're just going to choose probably. I think it's going to be governance, right? Yeah. Governance, right?
Communication can do that. Which one is the strongest? Which heading?
Ecological well-being. Wow, we're heavy on governance. Okay, good job.
Fishing culture and tradition. That's the threat.
We have national policies that then you devolve to the districts who know nothing about the national policy, and we have no integration. It's a very big issue.
Yeah. So what we do is that changing, maybe it's changing culture.
That's what I lack of integration, lack of harmonisation. It can go in
You got two. Now, in your groups, this is really important. This is your chance to feedback. So, there is one yellow sheet on each table. But actually, you write down what you think. So, what do you feel you would want to keep of today, from day one on this course? What do you feel that you would want to add to day one, if you would want to add something? And what will you remember of today? You spend 5 minutes doing this as a group. Afterwards, one volunteer stays with the sheet of paper and the others can go home. And then the one volunteer from each table, so there are 5 volunteers, will come and sit with the trainers. And the volunteers will report back on. So the trainers, we are going to note down every single comment that you make. And we make, thank you, yes, yeah, for that one, where we write down all the comments, yeah? And we think about them tonight, and we see how we can respond tomorrow. You see? So basically, it's your feedback. This is a useful way of feedback. You can talk about, well, it's up to you. The suggestions you make, the feedback you give, whatever you feel is important. Yeah. So we try and incorporate it and address it as much as possible. Tomorrow evening. So everyone will get a chance to feedback to us. Okay. So it becomes anonymous. Are we clear? Okay. So 5-minute discussion, feedback on day one.
I can also tell you I have rewritten them. And also do slides for you.
But not, it doesn't mean not get explanation. They already explained the explanation. But when we discuss, they want yes, I think that one
maybe it's easiest.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. You know that, yeah.
Tell stories all day.
Actually, I would be going to tell some stories.
There's no result coming out. Yeah. And they continue to get, rather than what do you have any problems with?
Malaysia and the Philippines could be grouped together.
Group 2.
And they will have a